Can I say hi real quick?
Of
And then,
course. Hello. It's nice to meet you.
I'm James, and I have to tell you that Julie and I owned a catering business for 14 years, and
Oh,
Julie knows how particular I am. And
yeah.
when we go to a restaurant, she's always kind of holds her breath because I'm so particular, and I love your meals.
Wow. I'm so glad to hear that. That's great.
Like, two of them were good, and all the others were excellent.
Wow, that's great. I know it's funny how we will have favorites, and then like a couple when we were doing it, because I worked with a recipe developer. Like I didn't actually, like I would we worked together, but she's really the one who made them, like with the ingredients and picking stuff out. And there was like just a couple that I was like, you know what, this is just really not that good, and I left them out because I really want these to be just really wow, so that you feel happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really delicious. Really enjoyed it.
Oh well, thank you. That's such a nice compliment. I will let her know that too.
The spaghetti squash meatballs was tremendous, and I really loved what was the one, the chicken with mushrooms,
Yeah.
kind of a cream sauce.
Oh, good. Hey, you guys, I wanted to welcome you. I have a special interview today. This is with Julie, and she has actually just gone through not only hCG and lost weight with that, but my Phase 3 to Life program, and she's done really well with it. She's actually the first person who, one of the first people who commented on the P3 to Life site. Can I read your comment real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the comment I got. I released the P3 to Life program, and then I get this comment from a Julie, and she says, someone in heaven is watching over me because the weekend that I started P3 was the same weekend that Razel offered the P3 to Life program. I bought it immediately, and I'm completely in love. I've never been so excited and happy with food I'm eating and felt so satisfied and good at the same time. I can't wait to try each new recipe, and I'm continually amazed at how delicious and flavorful the food is that I've cooked. My family is loving it as well. I triple every recipe. I haven't had one issue on P3. It's been so easy, and I keep losing weight too. I've lost 8 more pounds during the past 2.5 weeks by following Razel's P3 to Life. I plan to continue to eat this way for life. So anyway, needless to say, I did get like teary-eyed when I read that. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So
Yeah.
it was
No, it really
awesome to hear.
has been just like amazing. I think there was an email that came out that it like, hey, this is coming, and I was like, but you didn't say when it was coming, like if
Right.
it's
Because I actually wasn't sure.
it's coming, and then like then it came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, it came out the same weekend that I'm like ready for it, and so yeah, I was actually out of town that weekend, so I bought it and I studied it the whole weekend, so that on Monday morning I could just go and get
Awesome.
working on it.
That's
And plus I was buying everything on Amazon, so it was like
that's easier. Do you do
yeah,
Amazon Fresh ever? Like, I mean, the grocery service thing. Have you tried that yet?
never tried that.
That's actually pretty nice too.
Okay, right?
Oh, good. Okay, well, to start off, why don't we get just a quick little background on you? Like what's been your weight loss journey so far? What was your starting weight, your ending weight, your height and age? Can we just have those statistics?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm exactly as tall as you are. I'm 5'1".
Gotcha.
Um, and I actually had a friend that said, hey, I'm going on this diet. I think you should do it with me. And so I just said, okay. And I really had no clue what I was getting into. I didn't
Yeah.
do the research, which is not like me. Um, I just was like, okay, I'll do it. And I didn't realize it was like so strict and so difficult.
You
And,
just thought, oh, it's probably just eating healthier. I can handle that.
you know, and it's not my first diet of my life, but
Yeah.
anyways, I'm 45 years old, and I actually do have celiac disease.
Oh,
So I've been eating gluten free for about 3 or 4 years.
gotcha.
Um, and but I also have a problem with my thyroid, so it's just so hard to keep the weight down, and it just keeps sneaking up. And so my starting weight was, I actually had not gone on the scale for almost 2 years, and I
Gotcha.
was like, I have no idea what I weigh,
Yeah.
and I got on it. It was worse than I thought,
Was
but I weighed 164.8 was my starting weight,
okay.
and and I really struggled actually through P2. I never cheated, but I was starving. And after about 3 weeks, I finally called. I did it with a doctor, so,
Yeah.
and I did the injections myself. And
Yeah.
after about 3 weeks, I called and I was like, "Am I supposed to be this hungry? Like I'm dying. Like if I didn't have tremendous self willpower, I don't know how I would be getting through these days because I'm so
Yeah.
hungry." And anyways, long story short, and then well, plus I googled it too, and you talked about it. Like so, I had way too high of a dosage. So
Gotcha.
finally, but my doctor didn't even realize that. Like you
Right.
explained more than what my doctor explained.
Yeah. Yeah, very few
And
people realize the dosage makes a difference. Yeah.
yeah, so I brought the dosage way down, and I kind of was playing with it. Even my doctor was like, when I told, because I talked to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist said, bring it down. But it was 25, and
Okay.
she said, bring it down to 18, and my doctor said, no, do 20. And
Oh.
I kept playing. Was it 20? Is it 18? And really, 18 was probably the magical number for me, where
Gotcha.
I wasn't hungry anymore.
Yeah.
But
Which for you guys out there listening on the syringe, that probably was about 180 IUs. I'm assuming probably, and the 25 units she was taking was probably like 250. Yeah, which for like a smaller person typically is definitely too high for most of us smaller people. Yeah. So that's good. So that made a difference coming down.
So coming down, but I only I actually only lasted 5 weeks. I couldn't do the last week.
Yeah.
I was just like
Burned
I
out.
think I'm gonna fall apart, or I just needed to transition.
Yeah.
And so I had lost 20 pounds.
That's
at
great.
that point. And then so then I started the transition, and then then I went on to started the P3. I didn't. I think I was probably like maybe 2 or 3 days into P3 when I could actually start your program.
Yeah.
The timing of it and
Oh, sure.
and everything. So so I started, and it was amazing. Like I just followed it, and I felt more satisfied eating your way on P3, and I lost 8 pounds, and it was way easier than I never had a problem. Like I didn't have
So great.
like you talked about these steak days and all this stuff. My weight just kept coming off. So
That's great. Yeah, I know. So, because usually, of course, most people are aiming to stabilize, like not lose or gain in P3, which for you guys, that's totally easy to do on the phase 3 program if you want. It's so easy to add calories. I mean, you literally, like 1 tablespoon of butter is 100 calories. You add that to your bowl. Like, it's not hard. But for people that might want to lose a little more, it's really cool that you were able to do it in like a painless way on the program.
it really was. Because
awesome.
my goal was to at least get 25 pounds off, and I was a little disappointed. I only got to 20.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so my total weight loss at this point is 28 pounds.
That is fantastic.
I weigh 136 now.
Great. And what size are you at now in your clothes?
6.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So and I'd love to lose 10 more pounds, but I'm pretty happy right now.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's a gradual thing, and it's like you have to wait sometimes, like you said, plus you spent 3 weeks feeling starving on too high of a dose, so that probably took a toll on you, like emotionally and mentally, so it's like you have to recover for a while before you're ready to like do a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little cranky.
Yeah. Well, before we get into like more of like all the details and the logistics of how you actually did the program, if you were to kind of just boil it down into a nutshell for other people, because this is new, there's no other like P3 program out there, so people may not know, like, is this something I need, or would it be for me? How would you explain to them like what it's done for you that without it you may not have had, like just in a few sentences?
Well, one thing that might be different for me is I've never done P3 before, so I don't have anything to compare to.
It's true.
But one thing I can say is I just would hear all these almost horror stories of not being able to stabilize or gaining the weight back really fast. And I just haven't had to even face that at all. Like I just haven't had to face that. It was just easy. I didn't have to.
Gotcha.
I didn't have to think, what am I gonna eat?
Right.
I didn't have to be scared about what I was gonna eat.
Yeah.
I just felt so much confidence about what I was doing and what I was eating, and I also felt like excited about it because especially when I started tasting the recipes, I was like, this is not a diet. Like this doesn't. I am not on a diet at all. I didn't feel hungry. I was so satisfied, and I know I technically was on a diet, but I didn't feel that way at all. It was
That's
just
awesome.
it just was just peace of mind and so easy.
That's great. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's true. Like that was kind of part of the purpose of coming up with such a very specific layout. Because like, now there's going to be the build your own meal plan kit too, but that will require that you make decisions. And some people want to do that, but like, I realize that for a lot of us, what stops us from making good choices is we don't really know what choices to make, or it's just overwhelming. It takes a lot of time to like figure that out and make a plan. So it's like, if we just have a plan, they just follow it, you know?
If I had to make a plan, I can't even fathom how anybody could have done it without.
Yeah.
I can't fathom how anybody would do it without the plan.
Well, like you said, sometimes even for me, because of course I didn't have a P3 program.
Right.
And I also actually didn't know what I was doing initially. Okay, so basically it sounds like you ended P2 at, you said 144, and then you did the P3tolife program, and you actually lost weight, which you were happy with because you actually had wanted to get a little lower, and got down to 136.
Yep.
And for you guys, if you're listening, all the information on the P3 program is p3tolife.com. So I don't actually have much on the hCG Chica blog about it. But what's neat about it, from what it sounds like, is that it sounds like you weren't like really hungry, or like that weight loss during P3 was pretty painless.
It was the easiest thing I've ever done.
That's so cool. And there was like, I kind of purposefully did design it that way, you guys. Like that was my intention. I wasn't sure, like I was like, oh, I hope it pans out this way. But my intention was to design the meals so that they were very filling and created a feeling of satiety, like basically be as large as possible for the calories that were allotted, because the calories increase strategically each week, and it's an actual technique, scientifically backed. It's called reverse dieting, and it's a way to adjust your metabolism back up to a higher calorie point when you've been eating lower calorie without gaining weight. And so that's why it's designed that way, and it's just neat that it worked and that you felt really comfortable on it,
Yeah, I never I don't remember ever feeling hungry. I mean, I never ate and then afterwards still felt hungry or thought I was missing something, or and I just felt the regular tiny little hungry pain before you eat, and then I was completely satisfied every time.
Okay, so that is really good feedback. So you haven't done P3 before, so this was your first experience with that, and I'm glad that it was a good one.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that when people look over the plan, they're trying to figure out for themselves is like, I work, I have a family, how do I actually, like, sometimes it looks like, well, I have to like cook all these dishes, and they might feel a little overwhelmed. Can you tell us, like, do you work, do you have a family, like, how did you do this and how did it feel?
Yeah. So I work full time, and I have a pretty demanding job, but I was pretty strategic about how I did it. So I cook a lot on the weekends, and I actually doubled and tripled. Well, I tripled almost all the recipes except for a couple.
Because your family was eating them, right?
Family was eating them, but also like I found like the portions were bigger than they needed to be. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't eat a full portion.
Gotcha.
So like maybe what was considered 2 portions would be 3 for me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But so I would actually make one cooking session last maybe 4 or 5 meals, maybe four meals.
That's great.
And then I would do the same thing for like the breakfast, like the bacony eggs. I would quadruple that.
Awesome.
I wasn't having my family eat the breakfasts, just the dinners.
Yeah.
And you know, they could eat their own breakfast, their own lunch, but I would
Sure.
want them to eat my dinner with me.
Yeah.
So I would quadruple the bacony eggs, and I would have them for 4 days, and you know,
Cool.
just strategic things to kind of get you through the work week.
Right.
Where I would only cook maybe 1 or 2 nights during the work week,
Okay.
and I did most of my cooking on Saturdays and Sundays.
Gotcha.
So I was just, you know, really strategic about it and made things last.
Yeah.
And you know, I wasn't cooking, you know, every single meal.
Right.
I know you know, you kind of allow for changes or what, I mean, for.
Yeah, no, I tell people like adapt it to yourself, and I'm actually curious to see how you guys make it work for you,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and that's what I did was, so I was typically cooking about 4 or 5 of the recipes, the lunch dinner recipes
Yeah.
a week.
Gotcha.
I think what you'd provide, what, 10 or 11 or something like
Right,
that.
yeah, you could if you wanted to do it like that, right? And actually, gotcha. And that's essentially you guys, she was working off of the original meal plan because to start that was all there was.
Yeah.
And now we are adding the simplified meal plan, which is essentially more like what you already did. It's
Right.
less dishes and you eat it more often in the week. So that sounds like that's actually what you ended up doing.
I kind of ended up doing that by
Cool.
myself. Yeah.
Because that's what's doable, right? So
What was doable for me with
yeah,
my lifestyle.
right.
And I'm not a kitchen person. I don't like being in the kitchen. I have never really been the cook in the family.
Yeah.
And it's changed. My family doesn't know who I am right
They're
now.
like, what'd you do with her?
And that tastes good too. Like, Mom,
That's great. That's awesome. It is funny when like there's something you don't feel that comfortable with or doesn't feel like you, but then like if you become more adept at it, then it changes a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
That's great. Oh, cool. So that's how you did it. So you cooked mostly on the weekends. Now, did you grocery shop and do like a batch cooking session in one day or?
I usually couldn't grocery shop and cook on the same
Yeah,
day.
because
So
I couldn't either.
yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
wasted.
Right. So I would plan. I did a lot. I mean, I did a lot of studying. You know, like understanding the plan and
Cool.
making sure. Okay, this is what I'm going to need for this recipe. And you do.
Cool.
I mean, you do such a great job on your videos. Like, you know, watch the videos and
Cool.
figure out my plan, and then
Good.
store, and then get on Amazon. What would we do without Amazon?
I know.
So I was buying stuff on my, you know, and just but you know, at the first it feels like you're buying a lot, but then as time goes on, you really like when I have to go now to go get stuff for a recipe, I only have to get a few things.
Yeah,
You know?
because you have the staples now, right, that last. Yeah, and I try to point that out actually in the plans too. Like I added a section on grocery costs because yeah, at first you could feel like, oh my gosh, because you're buying like if you buy a pound of, flaxseed meal and almond meal and like this flavor extract and you're like, oh my God, that was $40. Or like, but I try to remind you guys that once you have it, you're only using like a quarter cup at a time or 2 tablespoons. So yeah, once you kind of have your new alternative pantry items,
Yeah.
you're going to be good for like 6 months or a year,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and now it's even easier because I've already done P3, but I'm still cooking the meals. I'm
Cool.
still doing it.
That's good. Yeah, and that's really what I wanted too. Like I didn't want this to be something where, well, okay, well I did this and well now I'm done and now what do I eat? That was why I even made the make it a maintenance recipe to add calories so that you wouldn't like just keep losing weight or you do want to boost your metabolism over time so that you can eat more or what have you.
Yeah.
So I'm curious then, since you did tweak it to yourself and use less recipes and stuff, do you have any idea like the calories that you were eating or did you eat more intuitively and just utilize the recipes and realize you weren't full and
being 100% intuitive.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
great.
I made sure I ate to satisfaction, never went over.
Cool.
And just there's only been a couple times that I've felt full recently, and I was like, ooh, that was too much food.
And you notice it.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think honestly that's the ideal scenario that we want to be at, where, because honestly, counting calories isn't really necessary. Sometimes it's nice to have an idea of things or how much protein is in what size of something, but yeah, ideally you want to just be able to eat. I don't count calories in general life either. And like you said, once you get a feel for like what's the right amount of satiety that will last you some hours, you do notice, because I do it too on occasion. I'm like, whoa, I just totally like ate too much and now I feel overly full. And I actually will experience it on the scale. Like I'll notice it will be higher the next day and I'll have to like fix it.
Yeah.
So,
One thing, because I was only doing about 4 or 5 of the meals like in week 1,
yeah.
and then week 2 I was doing the other half of week 1's meals.
Okay.
I was pretty confident that I was below my calorie count because
Right.
I was in week 2 and I was still eating week 1 meals.
You're right.
So I just felt like I'm sure I'm fine.
Yeah, you're right, because the main meal dishes in week 1 have a lower calorie amount per serving than the week 2 ones. That's right. Gotcha. Cool. I'm so glad to hear that you adjusted it like that too for yourself. You know? Awesome. That's great. So cool. So we talked about like the scheduling of everything. As far as like the time that was involved in making the recipe, each of the recipes, I mean, did you feel like it was reasonable, or how long would you say they took
So
you?
some were easier than others.
Right.
At the same time, I was tripling the recipes.
Oh, that's true.
So like the Napa cabbage, like the deconstructed pork egg rolls with the Napa cabbage. If you can only imagine
It's true.
whatever Napa cabbage you had to cut up or whatever.
It's true.
I times 3.
That's
So
true. And it's huge. Like it gets so small, but when it's raw, it's like humongous.
yeah. So it was a little bit more work that I put it on myself to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some are going to be a little bit more time consuming than
Right.
others. Some
Yeah.
are going to be really quick.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
And also, as I've gotten more strategic, like I think it was last night I made the buffalo chicken salad.
Yeah.
And so because I knew I was making it that night, the day before, I cooked the chicken and had
Perfect.
it already in the fridge. And so
Nice.
then all I had to do was throw the chicken in and cut up the vegetables, and it was ready really quickly. So
That's great.
I mean, every recipe is just a little bit different, and
Right.
you can. And I think if you can do the ones that have a little bit more ingredients on the weekends.
Yes.
And
That's
the quicker
smart.
ones, easier ones.
Yeah, especially as a full-time working person.
Yeah.
It sounds like you said you only had to cook dinner like 1 or 2 nights in the midweek. Was that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of what you did on the weekend?
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that really sounds like, you guys, for those of you who work full-time with families, that the simplified meal plan, which is basically designed how she kind of did it, is going to end up working well. And what I've done is in the new documents, I have cooking schedules where it shows you like exactly what to cook on what day, if you want to cook as you go, or if you want to do a twice weekly batch cook or a one-time weekly batch cook, where you pretty much, like with the one time you do just about everything on the one, for that day, and then maybe just a couple finishing touches,
Yeah.
as needed
Yeah.
for later in the week. So that's awesome. That's great.
I would get my daughter in the kitchen cutting stuff and stuff like that. And I bought like all the tools, like the spiralizer and the booth and all that.
Cool.
So, but it's a learning curve for me because again,
Yeah.
I'm not a kitchen person. So.
Yeah, and then once it becomes more familiar,
It's gotten easier. But it's been a joy. I mean, the whole thing has been a joy. I haven't been frustrated or
That's
by
great.
any. Yeah.
I'm so glad. That's awesome. I'm curious, what were, out of the recipes you've tried so far, do you have 1 or 2 favorites that you liked?
Yeah. So that was one of my hardest questions. I was like, oh, I have to pick a favorite. They were all so amazing.
Oh, good.
But I loved baconing eggs for breakfast.
Yeah.
I think the coconut milk just does something to it, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It's yummy.
Good.
And then for some reason, I really like the deconstructed egg pork roll bowl, and
Good.
it was one of my favorites.
Cool.
But I love the cauli mash. Um, it's like heaven. And I've had it at other places and restaurants and this, but I don't know, for some reason when it came out of my kitchen with butter on it, it just tasted really good.
It was
And
probably fresher or something.
it's probably fresher, yeah. But I also like would ask, so every time I would make a meal, I would always ask my family, what did you think about this, or and they all liked the food, but some had favorites. And my son, who's 18, his favorite was creamy, the creamy garlic chicken.
Cool.
So he loved that one. That was his
Awesome.
favorite. And
Great.
then my daughter's favorite was the spaghetti squash and meatballs. And my
Awesome.
husband's favorite was the buffalo chicken salad.
Awesome. Which is good because that's one of the easiest recipes.
Yeah.
Quickest. Cool. It's neat how we all have different palates and different favorites. I liked the buffalo chicken salad a lot too.
Yeah.
I think that actually turned me on to hot sauce. I was always against anything spicy, and then when I was like, you know what? In a small amount, it adds just enough kick without being super spicy. Unless you want to, you can pour it on, but I liked it. I couldn't believe
I
it.
did a version with the apple cider vinegar.
Yeah,
And
me
so,
too. Awesome. Well, good. That's great. Oh, so we kind of covered it a little, but were there any positive results from following the program that, like, when you looked it over or when you saw what you were eating, you weren't expecting, like that you were surprised by the
okay.
result? Is there anything like that?
Um, like surprised by the result, you mean personally or just by the program in general?
Yeah, or just like I guess with the results of it, like when like you said how you weren't really feeling hungry, but then in this case you actually lost weight. Like was it surprising
I,
like what you were eating as far as what would happen afterwards?
I was like, I was really just thinking, okay, this is I'm going to try to stabilize myself,
Yeah.
and the weight just kept coming off, and I wasn't even trying. I was just trying to stay relatively unhungry,
Right. Yeah.
and but I think the thing that surprised me the most was just how much I really liked it. You
Cool.
know, I
That's
mean,
good.
just how much the food was good, and just like I don't miss carbohydrates at
Cool.
all.
Cool.
And I think had I not had the program, I wouldn't have known how to eat in a way that was this low carb and this
Gotcha.
yummy,
Cool.
and also just not just your meals, but like all your tips and the
Cool.
chocolate chocolate perfection, whatever is like a dream come true.
Oh, you mean the sugar-free chocolate bars?
Yeah,
Oh, you
like
got those.
oh yeah, I have a freezer full
Those
of
are the best. You guys, she's talking about, I'll link to them in the show notes. They're called Choco Perfection and they're sugar free, but they're not just they're just like some of the best sugar free chocolate. And it has a healthier sweetener in it than others.
yeah,
Cool. Those are
yeah,
so good.
just just all that kind of stuff was
Awesome.
fantastic. But
Good. Well,
yeah,
good. Thank you so much, Julie. That was all really, really helpful. I think, yeah, that'll be really good for everybody. So,
and then also just to add, just the way everything was done is so beautifully done.
oh,
The the I don't know who's your graphic artist or who's putting all that together, but
I actually did. I did that part of it. I did.
oh,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
And
Thanks.
yeah, it's
I enjoy like visual things, so that's kind of the part. I can't design recipes, so that's why I have a recipe developer. So
beautiful.
like even though I picked stuff up and helped with like the ratios and the nutrient part, like I've tried it like a couple times. Like I made the smoothie recipes, those are mine, but
Okay.
food ones, like I'll try to be like, let me combine these ingredients, and then I'm like, I burn it or something. I don't know, and it doesn't taste very good. I'm like, this is not my strong suit. But
Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to, I did all the food photography and I did all the graphic design layout of everything. So
That's just beautiful.
thank
And
you.
everything you've done is top notch.
Thank you. I just was realizing that like we're very affected by what we see, you know? I am anyway. So it's
Yeah.
like something could be really delicious, but if the picture I see isn't really appetizing looking, it's like I'm probably not going to take the next step and make it.
Yeah. Well, not just the picture, but even the recipe page that it's on. Because,
Cool.
the recipe, like, you have recipes and it's just black and white, and there it is.
Right.
Yours is this beautiful recipe
Thank
page.
you.
It's just so nice. It's
Thanks.
delightful.
I'm glad. I wanted it to be like every aspect of it made you feel like happy and good and bring joy to your life.
Yes, it did. Every
Good.
part of it
Well,
did.
good. Well, good. All those hours slaving paid off then.
There in no way did I ever feel deprived. I felt
Good.
the complete opposite.
Well,
So,
good. I'm glad. It partially stemmed too from like, I mean, I just love things to be beautiful, and I'm a very visual person. But when I was initially researching to come up with my layout, I was researching other meal plan calendars, for instance, and other recipe layouts, and it's some of them were scary. I mean, like I would look at them and like want to run away because it just was like so confusing and like I don't even know. This looks like an Excel spreadsheet. I have to run away. But so that's why I was like, I don't want it to look like that because that just turns me off immediately. So.
yeah.
Oh, good. Awesome.
It was so appealing.
Well, good. Thank you. And I'm glad that it worked for you. That's, I
Yeah.
think, the main point,
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
could be beautiful, but then if it doesn't work, it's
Right.
not too helpful.
It was both.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being my first interview guest as a P3tolifer person, and I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, truly. I can't thank you enough for putting it together. I don't know what I would have done without you.
You would have figured something out, but I'm glad I could make it easier.
It wouldn't have been as fun.
I think what's great is that you were smart enough to take the original plan and figure out on your own that, like, oh, I can't cook 11 recipes on Sunday, and so I'm going to take some and then make that work. Because I got not a lot, but I did get some people who, have your situation and they're like, oh my God, I can't do this. This isn't going to work because I can't cook that much, which is where the simplified meal idea came from. But it's cool that you kind of just figured that out and was like, oh, I can just make some other recipes. So not everyone thought that way. They were just like, oh, I'm stuck. Now I don't know what to do and I can't do this. So I guess that's it,
I'm excited no pressure, but I'm excited about your new recipes whenever they come out. So.
Yeah, we're working on week 4 right now. So as soon as this week of like the week, I'll add them by the week. So as soon as I have all the week 4 ones ready, then I'll add the week 4, and it'll take a little bit.
How are they going to be like calorie wise? Because are they just sort of maintenance type recipes or?
Yeah, so the way I'm doing those, and again, it's all kind of slightly an experiment. What I wanted to do was, just because since everybody has like a different metabolic rate, it was like I wanted someone who's 130 pounds ideally to be able to eat the full thing without gaining weight. But then obviously someone who's 180 pounds eating the same thing, that's probably not going to be quite enough. Yeah. But I figure it's always easier to add calories than to take away, Yeah. So what I did was for week 4 to 6 is still basically the same as week 3 as far as calories go. So it's like 14 to 1500 calories for that, because I figure for some women that's pretty much maintenance for some of them. Not everybody, but for some.
For my weight, it's probably gonna be
So that's where it'll be at. And then what I am doing though, and we'll see how this goes, I am starting to incorporate just like smaller amounts of complex carbs, not like grain but like one dish, for instance, has sweet potato fries or yam fries.
Yeah.
Is like so slightly more, so there will be just a little bit higher carb from like but I'm still trying to be cautious about it so that it's and then like for instance after that have a more clean eating day, for instance, so it's not like every day all of a sudden complex carbs every day, like
yeah,
just so it's, because I feel like the more gradual you are, the more your body, or like for some of you guys you might be doing one meal 3 or 4 days in a row, but then maybe that'll be just dinners will have a complex carb only, and then lunch won't, or something, So yeah, that's kind of the plan there. So
that's exciting. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we'll see. So
yeah.
I just wanted to like have a lot of variety to it so that people you get just lots of ways to eat all kinds of ingredients and know what to do with them. Like, is what I wanted. Because I feel like a lot of us, we like, oh, okay, I know how to use cauliflower or Brussels sprouts or something, but then we kind of get stuck on just always eating 2 or 3 vegetables. And that's why I was like, I want the recipes to really utilize the full gamut, so that we get comfortable and, yeah, so.
And then what kind of keeps you going, like, now? Like, what, I mean, because you've lost the weight and,
Yeah.
you look great, you know how to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what keeps you passionate about moving forward and doing the P3 program and all that stuff?
It's a good question. I think
Because you put a lot into it. I mean,
I
put
did.
so much.
You know what? I do. To be honest, I do like to work. I have a very strong need to be productive, and
Okay.
and I have a chronic illness, so I'm very limited actually in life with what I can do, in like day-to-day life. Like I can't. There's just a lot of things I can't do that normal people can do. Like even grocery shopping. Like if I grocery shop for too long, like I'll be totally wasted for the whole rest of the day. And I hate when I get so fatigued that I can't like do anything at all. Like it's horrible. So I'm really limited in certain ways, but my business, I'm just on the computer. I'm not really talking to anybody usually. I can do that for like quite a while and it doesn't make me feel bad. Like I don't get symptoms. So it's kind of one of the few ways in life that I can be productive, And so for a while, like before I got really active on the P3 program last summer, yeah, I mean, the blog was pretty comprehensive already, and I didn't really have a whole lot. I mean, I do the interviews, but it's like I don't really have a lot I need to do. And I was starting to feel really kind of like pointless. Like I was just like sitting around, like, and I'm a mom, of course, but
Yeah.
I can't do that only full time, and that's it,
No, I'm a mom. I have 3 children. One's already grown and out of the house, but
Yeah.
I choose to work.
Yeah.
I love to work.
Yeah, I just, it feels good to be productive and feel, especially with when I make this stuff, I feel like when I make it, that's kind of why I don't like to cook a lot, because I feel like you cook it and then you ate it and now it's gone. But like when I make this, it's here forever. I mean, like, the video is there. Thousands of people can watch it. It's going to keep on living,
Yeah. And you're doing a good service for people too.
Thank you.
Like me, I mean, like I said, I have celiac disease.
Yeah.
So this isn't just like a diet for me. This is like, because this is a way for me to eat.
Right.
So.
And be content,
And
yeah.
be happy and
Right. It's true. Yeah, I think because I'm not celiac, but I do have a very bad pain if I have gluten. I'm not sure what the difference is between celiac and gluten intolerance, but yeah, I can't have it.
You're just one step behind.
Yeah, no, I mean it's excruciating pain if I have gluten. So
I actually don't have pain, physical pain.
Really?
Yeah, for me it's migraine. I have migraine.
Oh, interesting.
Like
wow.
Yeah, it's awful.
Wow. I didn't realize it affected people differently like that. That's interesting.
And bloating and but and then the brain fog and the exhaustion and the body pains. And,
yeah.
The migraine is talking louder than all the other problems.
Wow, see, I don't get migraines. I don't think I've almost ever had one. Wow. Yeah, no, for me, if I have gluten, because there's been a few occasions when I accidentally had it, and it feels like my intestines are like there's a forest fire. Like it's searing pain until it's gone, and it's I mean, I almost like have to go to the emergency room. It's so painful. Like that's why for me, never tempted.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
No temptation here.
Nope. Never worth feeling like that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.